right, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Another month, another off topic. I'm here with my friend Greg. This month we have a really cool guest. I think you guys will love him. Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing so much better right now than I was, 10 minutes ago because I get to hang out with my boy.
There you go.
So it doesn't even matter who the guest is, but we're going to have fun. But we both love our guests too. So
Yes.
this is going to be freaking awesome.
Yep. All right, guys. So without any further ado, here's our guest.
What's
Mr.
up,
Tony
fellas?
Southern Collector.
I'm gonna have to have my kids watch this. Y'all said I was cool. That's something that's not in their vocabulary for their dad.
No, that's fine. My kids feel the same way about me.
I think I think you both are extremely cool. And
Thanks,
my wife has literally said to me many times, I feel like there's a part of your life that I'm disconnected from. And she did get to meet Darren. So she actually at least knows Darren is real.
Yeah.
But the only thing she says to me about Tony all the time is we should go visit, but if we go visit, we may end up having to stay because I think I want to live in Tennessee. So
come on, we can have a card commune or something. Let's go.
That'd be awesome.
Nice.
So we got some stuff coming up this month, yeah, Darren?
Yes, we do. We got Strongsville coming up in what, 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
Yeah, in 2 weeks, I get to hang out with you two guys if you'll be seen with me.
Actually, yeah, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Well,
awesome.
we're recording this on a Wednesday, so yeah.
All right, so it's 2 weeks from yesterday.
And you want to know what kind of dedication I have and this is going to show you guys how much I love you both. I'm going to be with you guys on my dad's 75th birthday.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Is Coach coming?
Yeah,
he's not coming.
Oh,
he's
dang.
not coming.
Why not?
Yeah. I don't know. I think he realizes that a lot of the Strongsville appeal is like the hangout, and it's like it's almost like frat house week for a weekend with your buddies, and he's kind of a quieter, introverted type guy, and I think he probably wants to just let me. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I think he's like, no. You go hang out with your buddies, and which
I think
cool.
he listened to our videos from last year and heard how shitty the hotel is, and he's like, I'm not going.
That hotel is so much nicer than my Cleveland hotel for the National, dude.
Really? So like the hotel last year, like they upgraded my room. All the metal stuff on the desk was rusting.
Oh man.
The multiple people got stuck in the elevator when it kept breaking. It was cool.
I mean, just looking on the map, the hotel looks like it's pretty good size.
Yeah,
it's outdated, I guess.
Yeah, it's on the Days End. It's what is it? I can't remember.
Best Western?
Best Western. It's a Best Western Plus. What I think happened was somebody bought like the Best Western minus and just paid to put the plus on it.
Well, at the National last year, me and my buddy Tim, we stayed in downtown Cleveland in this fancy hotel. Let me put it, this is how fancy it was. Every morning a bus would load up with PSA graders. That was PSA's hotel.
Oh,
so
nice.
it was freaking awesome.
Wait a second. They have a bus for minimum wage employees?
Dude, we were in the elevator with them every day on the way back and in the morning. I was like, hey, can I just hand you this card? I need to get graded. That way I don't have to stand in that line.
Right. Yeah. They're like, Tony, can you tell us about eye appeal so we know how to do our job? Last week, really young, I got fired from Chipotle last week, and now I'm a grader at PSA.
They were all in their 20s. I mean, they look like college
Don't tell me this. Don't tell us this stuff.
I actually was thinking about that when I was watching your video the other day, Greg, when you guys were talking about that. And it's like 90% of the people that buy vintage cards that submit them to PSA are probably more knowledgeable about what those graders do than the graders themselves are. And the stuff that we send in to them to get graded is like some of the cards that we send in are more valuable than, 2-3 months more pay for a minimum wage person. And I've seen about that. I'm like, where else in what other situation would you put a valuable asset in the hands of somebody that really doesn't have experience in it, that doesn't get paid very well to do it, and then you get it back and you trust their judgment? And I know this off topic is not
Yeah.
about grading, but maybe I was listening to it again this morning at the gym, and I started getting like really, really upset thinking about that. And it's weird because when I start like cussing out loud at the gym with my headphones on, I don't hear myself, but the people around me hear me. It's weird. They make faces and stuff.
Well, I mean, living in Northern California, we live, an hour 15 from the Napa Valley. And then where I live is right on the edge of a different kind of wine valley.
Mhm.
And it's sort of like these people that are really knowledgeable on wine, and they go to these tasting rooms, and the person who's pouring the wine and doesn't really know anything about wine, but they were given a little 1 hour class on their wine.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that. It's like sometimes the customer is a lot more knowledgeable than the person who's the other side of the other side of the counter.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're right. There aren't a lot of places it's like that, but I think wine might be one, and PSA certainly is one.
It's funny you say that, actually, because my wife and I were in Napa probably like 3-4 years ago, and we went to a pretty nice vineyard, and we were doing a tasting, and the person pouring for us, the guy pouring for the people next to us, was incredibly knowledgeable. Like, you'd hear him talking. Our person, you could tell, like, it was like their first day. They were pouring us a cab, and I asked him, I go, talk to me about, the estate cab versus the regular cab. And literally the guy goes, well, the cab, it's a red. I'm like, oh, thanks. I can't see that in the glass, but thank you. Keep going.
Do you know what winery that was?
It was, which one were we at?
The reason I ask is my brother, I grew up 35 minutes from Napa, and my brother went to the private Catholic rich high school in Napa.
Oh,
and
nice.
I went to the public school in our normal town, the normal people. And so all of the kids he was going to high school with were like the kids and grandkids and great grandkids of all of the wine growers and wine vineyard owners and label owners. And so he had all sorts of connections growing up with the Sebastiani family and Silver Oak Winery and a bunch of them.
It was, I can't, why am I spacing the name? It's the one that was in the movie Bottle Shock. It's the one that it's been there for a long time. They won that award in France, like in the 70s. It kind of put Napa on the map when they beat the French wines in a blind taste testing. It was that vineyard. It's the one that's on the north side of Napa Valley. I don't know why I can't think of it. It's totally spacing it. But yeah, no, it was funny because everybody else that was pouring was like incredibly knowledgeable. So I would just like, our person, we're like, okay, thanks. Stop talking. I'm just going to listen to this guy.
Well, you're leaving the Southern collector totally in the dust because I don't know anything about no wine.
I don't either. And I'm also thinking we've got a guest on. We're 8.5 minutes in, and we haven't even talked about cards, and everybody has turned us off at this point.
We're way off topic. Sorry, guys. Let's try. We're going to try to veer back on topic. So
what is the topic that we're supposed to be on?
Strongsville. What are you guys thinking? What are you going after? Let's talk a couple cards. Let's pick. I know we all have lists or concepts of lists. What's kind of your top card you're looking for? Not top card. What's the one you're most excited to try to find there?
Greg, you go first.
Okay. I was afraid you'd do this. So I haven't actually talked to you guys about this. I've been thinking a lot over the last week. Couple of people we know in the hobby went out and got a really big card. And one of the things that I love about cards is that we can all do cards side by side. It's like I could go golfing with a friend who shoots 110. I could go golfing with a friend who's +5 handicap, and I could have just as much fun. So to some people's big card is not a big card to someone else, but I could be just as happy hanging out with people above budget wise or below. That said, for me, a big card is anything over 500 bucks. Well, there's a card that I've always really, really wanted. And I've been thinking recently, should I just save and sell and liquidate some stuff over the next like 3 months and go for that ultra big card for me at the National and have kind of a small Strongsville show? Or should I go after a couple of pretty big pieces? Or so I really want a Leaf Jackie.
Yes.
And to
Speak it
get
to
one, yeah, to get
Yeah.
one that would really just, tickle me, it would be probably somewhere a 1.5 to a 2.5. So
Okay.
somewhere between about 8,500 and 11,000.
Yeah.
But the way my budget is, that would take a lot of work. So I'm really thinking right now, about, should I sell some stuff? Should I not buy anything at Strongsville and just hang out with my guys and be the wingman and then try to go for that at the National? But then what if I do that and I go to the National and I don't find the right one? So I haven't answered your question. I've already taken up another 3 minutes. So I'm not doing a very good job.
May I interject?
Yeah.
Remember the last off topic, we were talking about this, not about this specific, but conceptually, we're talking about this. Like what Billy Ballgame says, you're good. Just borrow against future months' budget, and you can buy the card at Strongsville.
Right.
Mhm.
I was
You
throwing out a few ideas to Megan last night, and I was talking about finances and stuff. And I was trying to kind of soften her up, like before you send in the ground troops, you kind of, lob some aerial attacks to kind of soften them up a little bit.
Off. Okay.
So I might have sent in a few Apaches and a couple of, So I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm at that point yet. I think that I'm headed in that direction. And again, I've now killed 4 minutes, but this is just where I'm at, and this is my therapy session. I am on the couch right now, and I am will hunting, and you guys are, just helping me through this. I think the cards that I'm targeting are the two biggest. The biggest ones would be Cy Young T206 Portrait, Red Portrait Cobb, Bat on Shoulder Cobb, Nap Lajoie Portrait T206, 53 Tops Jackie. I think those are probably the 5 that are at the top of my list, where with the budget that I am going to be bringing with me, in the grades that I would be looking, are probably my top 5 targets. So I gave a really long-winded answer to your question. So I'm sorry.
No, man, it's awesome.
That's good. So when you had this conversation with Megan and you explained it, did you take the approach of, right now, all the capital markets are kind of in disarray. We don't know directions that they're going, right? Gold is really high, so it's not necessarily the best time to buy gold. But buying a red Cobb you might as well be buying gold. It's a great it's a great place to park some savings while we wait for the markets to all kind of get back in equilibrium. That's my take. I don't know.
Megan really trusts
me. You think she'd buy that?
Megan, I don't think she'd buy that, but I also think she'd say, I trust you. She completely trusts me with our finances. I've been saving for retirement since I was 22 years old. We have a pretty good chunk in there, now. We have a paid off house. We have no home mortgage. We're doing, for a couple of teachers, a teacher and a school counselor, we're doing pretty good. So she does trust me, but I can't quite yet violate that trust.
No,
I'm getting close.
I don't think you should. having been divorced, I would recommend you never buy it.
Yeah, that's bad.
Because then,
So,
because then half your cards go away.
I'm going to throw out two more. Can I just read the whole list?
Read it.
I'm just going to read the list. These are the cards that I have comped out. In addition to what I already said, Walter Johnson T206 portrait, Christy Mathewson T206 portrait, 39 play ball Ted Williams, 39 play ball Joe DiMaggio, 48 Bowman Stan Musial, 49 Leaf Ted Williams, 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson, 50 Bowman Jackie Robinson.
So that's a good list. And to be honest with you, that list,
It's a great list.
It's long, but no, that's good though. Here's why I say that. You have some cards in there that are save up for a while, buy one type cards, but then you have other cards in there that you could put together a strategy to say, look, there's 2 or 3, like there's some of those cards you could put together a strategy. You can say, I could get 2 or 3 of these, or you put together a strategy and say, hey, I could get 1 of these, or I'm not buying any of them and saving and buying like one of the big ones at the National. So you've got options.
Yeah.
Another thing I haven't talked about on my channel yet, and I mean, I gotta say, I feel like a bad friend right now because we got Tony on, and we've hardly let the guy talk.
Yeah, I know, man. So, I'm just glad to be on here.
Hardly let him talk, but since we're here, and since I'm rolling, and since I'm just, I am where I'm at. I haven't shared this on my channel yet, so this would be breaking news to anyone listening, but I sold a really big card a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice. What'd you sell?
I sold it. So a year.
I was trying to set you up for like a good
okay. Well, you guys know, you guys are my boys, but I bought a 1915 Cracker Jack. I've bought 3 1915 Cracker Jack cards. One of them's looking at me right here. One of them's Ed Walsh. And I bought it because it was a really beautiful example in a 3. And I thought it looked really nice for a 3. And I bought it for $900. And all in, I paid $950. I'm like, it's too good of a deal. I have to buy this because it's in front of me. I'm not in the market for this, but who's not in the market for a Hall of Famer of a Cracker Jack?
Yeah.
So I bought it for $900, $950 out the door. And I liked having it, but it didn't really fit with what my collection was. And Cracker Jacks, I mean, Tony, I know you and I are on the same page with this. I genuinely believe that the ultimate set in the long term is going to be the Cracker Jack set. I don't think it's the 52 tops. I don't think it's the T206. I think the Cracker Jack set is going to be the set in the future. And I think commons are going to be worth a fortune. And I think Hall of Famers are going to be worth crazy money. I genuinely believe that. The only card I'm higher on than Cracker Jack cards is the 52 Jackie, which I know you both have beautiful copies of. So I didn't want to sell it, but I'm trying to move around assets to get to things that I do really, really want. So I listed it on a Facebook group for $1,700, no fees, and I sold it. Yeah. So, and I bought it in August. No, I bought it in August. So nice. I literally in 6 months, I made $850, $800, something like that. Yeah. Now, do I think that card is going to be worth a lot more in the future? Of course, but I still just where I'm at right now. That's a lot of equity for a card that I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. I need to take that equity and put it into a card that I'm really excited about.
Right.
Like one of the ones I just mentioned. Now that I've gone for 15 straight minutes, Tony, what do you think about that? And what are you looking for at Strongsville?
Well, I'll tell you that in a minute, but just going on the Cracker Jack, what you just said, you just cost me a lot of money. That one morning when you sent the text of the Hannes Wagner 1915 Cracker Jack, but dude, it was such a good deal. I mean, I've
Dude,
been wanting that card. I have been
I
looking for
know.
that card. It was what, $1,500, $2,000 under comps.
Yeah.
And it
And
was
it's
in the
centered.
yes, and it was in the PSA vault, so it didn't have to go through authenticity. It came straight to me. And yeah, man. And then the one on REA just sold Sunday night or Saturday night, whenever that was, and it sold for I think $2,000, $3,000 more than what I paid for mine. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, those things, if you can get one right now, that's a deal. So yeah, Cracker Jacks, I agree. I think are gonna keep going. I mean, they in the last year have gone crazy.
Yeah.
The other card, if you ask me, a card that you didn't mention that I think, and I actually own two of them that I think are gonna skyrocket in the next couple of years, next 10 years, is the clip corner bond bred Jackie, the
Yeah.
true 1947. Now
Yeah.
that the Star Jordan is getting a lot of traction as the true rookie, that is his true rookie, and the pop
Yeah.
count on that is 80 something. So there's not a lot of them out there, and you can get into a decent, in those, there's not a big difference between authentic or a 6 because they got clip corners. You can't really. I got an authentic and I got a 2, and they look identical to me. And you can get in one of those for like $3,000, and I think the upside on those are huge. So
If that card showed up in Strongsville for that price, I could easily pivot into that.
yeah, that's
you and I have
cool.
had that conversation. You texted me, I don't know, like a couple months ago, and you're like, "What do you think? What do you think has the most upside? The 49 Bowman, the 49 Leaf, or the Bond Bread?" And I'm like, "The Bond Bread."
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's already so low. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's so daggum low. There's no way it only can go up. So, anyways, you asked me what I'm looking for. I've got a huge hole in my collection. I don't have any Christy Matheson, and I don't have any Walter Johnson. It's a shame. I've got all the big guys. I've got Ruth. I've got Jackie. I've got Honus Wagner's. I've got Ty Cobb's, Joe Jackson's. But there's a big hole. So me and you both got on our list of T206 cards. I'd love to grab a E90 American Caramel, one of the Christie's, Matheson's, maybe that sideways one with the beautiful sunset.
That's a nice card.
So I'd like to do something like that. But also the Cracker Jacks of those two. I won't do the 14s. I'm just not into paying the 14 tax. And I know they're worth that because the pop count's so much lower. But to me, I just want the card. The Matheson, the 14 has the landscape pose. And then
That's
the
a great
15 has the portrait. I'm not spending $100,000 on that 14 Matty. Not going to do it. I just want a Matty.
That would be like a 1.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a 1 with maybe the corner ripped off. And
right.
That's just, I'm not going to do that. So that's kind of on my list. Now I'm looking at there's a couple of auctions going on right now, and depending on what happens in that, it's going to determine my budget. So yeah, y'all know what's up. So
if you don't have either one of those pictures, have you thought about for the Johnson, his Ramley?
Yes, I have actually.
Darren is an upseller. You are in sales, aren't you?
No, seriously. There was
one. That's a good card. Like I would love to pick one of those.
Of course, it's a great card.
Yeah,
but it's like in a 1, it's $50,000.
No, I mean,
no, one's like
Walter Johnson Ramley.
You can get in one about 18.
Really?
It's still pricey.
They're not cheap, but they're.
There was a couple of auctions in the last couple of months that had those. There was back to back. Golden had it in their vintage, and then I think it was Heritage had one. And
our handsome friend from Florida, it really wants that card. Mr. Orlando.
Yeah, it's a beautiful card. I would love to have that one. He has the big collar. It's pretty cool. So
I was gonna say, if you don't have a Johnson, that's a good entry to Johnson cards, I think.
Well,
his rookie is a good entry point.
It is a good entry.
23,350 for a 2 recently sold.
Yeah,
a 2.5 sold for 34.2.
Yeah, so that card in particular has really big jumps as you go up. Like a 1 you could probably get for around 10. and then a 1.5 is probably like mid-teens,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, they're significant.
Because a high grade is a 2.5.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good point. There's Darren's dad and I are both big Willie Keeler fans.
Yeah.
And Willie Keeler's card in that set is awesome. It's the same image as his portrait T206 card.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll see one of those from time to time. It's just a beautiful card. But then you're like, it's just like the T205s that have the gold border where it just flakes and it's just so hard to find one. But you know what? In those, it just having it is
Exactly.
nuts.
I don't care about the grade.
It's just nuts. So you're saying the T206s is the ones that you're learning? Because Darren bought a Walter Johnson caramel card at last year's Strongsville, didn't you, Darren?
I did. I bought the E121.
Yeah, that's a pretty one too.
So
so I just want one. I'm not going to be real picky on the set, but I do want the Cracker Jacks. I really like the Walter Johnson pose where he's kind of throwing it and he's kind of coming inside arm with it and then mid wind up. I think that's a cool card. It's a cool pose. So we'll see.
I sent you guys a picture of the Cracker Jack Christy Mathewson that hit the market today, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I thought you just now sent it. Yeah. Yep. But man,
right,
that's a little above my pay grade there, buddy. That thing was that thing was what was it, $90,000 or something?
Was it that
I'm gonna
much?
say, you think we're petty? Come on.
It was an 8. It was an 8 though, wasn't it?
Oh, it was insane. See, that's all this grading talk. It affects me absolutely because I'm a collector, but the way I collect, it doesn't really affect me that much because I'm in pre-war, and pre-war grades are grades, and so.
Yeah. All right. So Darren, by the way, I have to say that earlier today I was texting with some other guys, and I said, "Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna go home after work today, and I'm gonna get to have a conversation with Tony and with Darren." And for some reason, when I put Darren, it put DARRY. I guess I fat thumbed it or something. And so they were like, "Oh, that's so cute. You call him Derry now." And
that's nice.
I said that I would call you Derry on camera. So Derry, what are you planning on getting at Strongsville?
So I'll let it slide that one time. So that's good. So I was gonna say, I mean, there's a couple different cards. Maybe the Sports King Jim Thorpe. But after hearing what you guys said, my collection is lacking big time because I don't have any Cracker Jack cards. Or maybe a Cracker Jack. And then I do like that bomb bred Jackie Robinson as well. I don't have that. But I don't know. I think I've been talking about how I might expand outside of baseball, and maybe Strongsville is my opportunity to try to pick up, some vintage football or even vintage basketball.
Well, boys,
Stan is going to be there, and I know Stan has recently acquired a bunch of Cracker Jack stuff.
Okay.
So Stan Locke. So
if you're interested in a Jackie, I might let go of one of these. So just let me know.
Okay.
What would one of those cost a guy?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up, and I don't want to be a rude.
It depends on who's buying it.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Well, if you're seriously thinking about doing it, bring them to Strongsville because I don't know. Maybe I'll work a deal with you at the breakfast table.
All right, we can see what we can pull off here. Maybe trade it for a pirate card.
Sold.
Done.
Although you know what, somebody asked me maybe 6 months ago, what card in my collection do I think has the most upside? And I know this sounds insane, but I think my Blackbeard.
That's what I was going to say.
Card, I think that card has some serious potential. It never comes up.
I remember you talking about that.
It never comes up. I got a freaking insane deal on mine.
That I know.
I think some of these non-sport cards of big name, like the Native American set with Sitting Bull. I think that some of the the turn of the century sets of Abe Lincoln and Einstein. I mean, all these, not Einstein for the turn of the century, but I just think that I think a lot of those have some serious potential just because they're cheap. They're cheap right now.
Yeah, they are.
And it doesn't take much increase with that low supply. It doesn't take that much increase in demand. I mean, Darren's the econ major, but it doesn't take that much of an increase in demand when the supply is so low for the equilibrium price to go way up. Is that right, Mr. Darren?
Yes,
Darren?
it has a steep demand curve.
So okay, so
when Tony said a Pirates card, I just assumed he meant like a Dockman and Sons Honus Wagner, but I guess he meant actual Pirates. All right.
I know a guy that bought a big Honus Wagner card the other day.
Yeah.
He's a cute guy too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty killer.
Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah.
He was trying to play it cool, but we could all see the wheels turning.
Oh yeah.
My favorite part of that whole stream was when you were fired up after you got it and you said, "I am so freaking proud of you right now." I was like, yeah.
That was awesome. He could tell me for a week he was going for that Honus Wagner. And when he landed it, he was trying to play it off and just be cool and not like be excited. But I knew how excited he was inside.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Darren, you're saying Cracker Jack. You're saying maybe Jim Thorpe Sport King, maybe football card, right?
Maybe a basketball card.
Maybe a basketball card. I mean, when you think basketball, the issue with basketball cards is there are so few. There are so few big basketball cards. I mean, if you think in the history of basketball cards, like the Oscar Robertson rookie is probably a top 10 all-time card. And it doesn't really get that much attention, but there's just not a lot of massive basketball cards. There's the 57 set, the 57, 58, whatever you want to call it, that has the Bill Russell. It's got the 61 Fleer that has Elgin Baylor and Wilt Chamberlain and Oscar Robertson and Jerry West. There's the Mikan card from the 40s. There's a Dr. J card, but that's all the way now into the 70s. You got the Kareem in 69. Yeah, Pete Maravich in 70.
Yeah, maybe the Bowman Mikan. That sounds like a good one to add. It's a good first step into basketball cards.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great first step into basketball card.
Just jump right in the deep end.
I mean, that might be, you could make the argument. Is that bigger than the Wilt and the Russell? That's probably bigger than the Wilt and the Russell price-wise.
I would, yes, but like if you go with the way I look at it is if I went with a Wilt or a Russell, I'd really want nice eye appeal that would probably align with like a 5 or 6 grade versus the Mikan. I would be completely fine with something that was somewhat well centered and didn't have any like creases through his face.
Yeah.
Now, one thing the community doesn't talk a lot about is vintage football. So when you say vintage football, besides the one that you mentioned, what else are at the top? What's the cream on the top to you?
I would say the Jim Brown rookie's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a cool one to pick up. A bunch of those 49 Leaf cards I think would be great. Like the Bednarik would be a good one. I mean, there's just a bunch of them. There's the like the National Chickle. Not the Nagurski. That one's
like the new Rockney.
Yeah, the new Rockney's a good one. I mean, the Nagurski is cool, but that might not be necessarily like a good like first toe in the shallow end type pickup.
What about the Beecher? The Beecher and the Goodwin Champion set.
So the Beecher and the Goodwin Champions, that's an awesome card. But I mean, I've been looking at comps recently, and they seem to be quite strong.
Like 5,000 for a 1, right?
Right. So I would have to think about that. I do really like that card too. I mean, that would be a cool first football card pickup too. I mean,
what about a name it?
because last year I had a set list and I couldn't find my key card and I was so cranky. I don't really want a list. I just want like a kind of a broad umbrella.
Oh, Tony, you would have had
potential.
so much fun. He was so frustrated, man. I felt so bad for him. He was just walking around, just shaking his head, like, what the heck,
What was
man?
annoying though is I asked like 4 different dealers that would typically have that kind of stuff. Hey, do you have the 37 exhibits 4-on-1 with DiMaggio and Garrig? And 3 of them were like, yeah, I've got it, but I didn't bring it with me. And I'm like, why would you not bring that card with you? And
Yeah.
if you have it and you bring it with you, I'll buy it from you. You can just ship it to me. Oh, I got to check my inventory. I'm like, why are these guys tricking me and making me think they've got it? Like nobody has it. It's too bad.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Garrig, that's another one for me. I want to get the DeLong. I really
Yeah.
need to get that card. You know, it ain't a high grade card. You're never going to get one in. I don't care about that. 1.5 or a 2 be fine.
I'd say that's a great 2 card for sure.
Yeah.
That's another card. I stopped reading my list because I started getting embarrassed. But the 33 Gowdy, Garrig, and both 34. I guess it's technically 2 of the 33 Gowdy Garrigs, but to me, the front, but the 234 Garrigs, those are both on the list too. So I guess my list is about 20 cards, but I only have enough money to maybe buy one of them.
Yeah.
No, but that's the great part of having a goal list, right?
Yeah.
Gives you direction.
I want everything.
I'm married because I would be homeless with a box full of cards if I wasn't married.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, now that the girls are all going to be going to college, you could be like, hey, let's downsize, and I have a good idea what we could do with the extra cash we get from the downsize.
I actually have a different philosophy. Not that anybody listening or even you guys care about this, but I actually want a bigger house when I am older and the kids are out of the house, because I want them to feel like when they come to our house that they're not cramped, that they have their space, that they're like, we can go relax, we can go to grandma and grandpa's house and relax and have fun.
Yeah.
And so I actually, believe it or not, am planning on getting a bigger house once my kids have families.
Yeah.
So
yeah, see, I'm saving up all my Hilton and Marriott points so I could downsize and have room for the grandkids. But when the kids bring the grandkids, they could drop the grandkids off at the house, and I'll get the kids hotel rooms down the street.
Well, that's why we're moving to a bigger house in August. Missy has the same philosophy. She wants a big house. I'm going to build some built-in bunks up in the bonus room where
cool.
grandkids can bunk up. And her dream is to have all the kids and the grandkids stay there on Christmas Eve night and do the whole Santa thing at our house. So we'll see what happens.
I may or may not have mentioned to Megan a couple of times that you're going to be moving to a different house down the street, and that if it was a better time in life, I would have been super interested in buying the one that you're sitting in right now.
Yeah, let's go.
I walk my butt over to Tony's in the afternoons and look at cards with him.
Man, that'd be sick.
That would
we'd be reliving 12 years old again.
Oh, dude.
I could put a Pac-Man upstairs in the bonus room and a Galaga, and we'd have it made.
I'd put a Mike Piazza card in my bike spokes and then ride on over to your house.
Man, Mookie's falling out of his chair right now.
That's why I said it. Everything is planned. All right, so we have our goal list. It'll be interesting to hear after the fact if any of us get any of these things we're talking about.
Right.
But the real point of Strongsville is like where we started. Is it's just getting to hang out, and it's like the thing that was like, I literally remember this like it was yesterday, and it was literally a year ago. I remember coming down the elevator and coming out into the I don't know what you want to call it, lobby, I guess you'd call it at the hotel.
Yeah.
There was like a big circle of guys. And I'm like, I know all these guys. I know who that is. A couple of people looked a little bit different off camera, and it took me a second. And then I was like, wait a second, you're so-and-so. But and it was like there's a certain amount of comfort, but also a certain amount of you're still a stranger because I recognize you and I know who you are and we've communicated, but now we're in the same room. But then Darren walks in the room, and I'm not kidding you when I say this. I don't think literally in my life I've ever had another person who I had only talked with like this or on the phone and texted, and he walked in and it was like 100% comfort immediately. It was just like, yeah, I'm totally comfortable with Darren. Like,
Did you call him Derry that day?
I didn't call him Derry yet. It was,
no, he hadn't, because
I felt like I was like, I'm gonna wait for our 1 year anniversary. But like I knew I liked Darren. I knew I liked Darren before I even. In fact, have we ever told Tony how Off Topic started?
I don't know. I've never heard it.
I don't know. No, probably not.
So I had seen Darren's channel, and I watched his channel several times, and I was like, I like this guy. I like this guy. I don't really know him. I mean, but I like him. And at the time, I had only had a couple of guests on my channel. Like, this would have been like October or so of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd only had like 1 or 2 guests ever. I'm like, I want to have this guy on. I was like, I wonder who would know his number. And I mentioned something to Theo, and Theo gave me his number. So I just texted him like out of the blue. I was like, hey, dude, you want to come on? And he was just like, yeah, sure. So he came on, and then I was like, that was fun. Want to do it again next month? He was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And you were actually with your dad and your brother, I think, when I reached out to you, right, Darren?
Yeah, we were hanging out in New Orleans.
And you're just like down on Bourbon Street. And I'm like, want to do a live? Or not live?
I was like 6 hurricanes in. I'm like, I think so. I'm like looking at my screen. I'm like still blurry, but I was like, sure.
And that was like, I mean, we should look at what episode this is, but I don't know. It's been about 20 episodes between the twice a month, awesome. Most of the times, right?
Yeah, we're getting close. I think we're getting pretty close to a year of formal Off Topic.
But y'all do 2 a month, right? One on your channel and one on the other channel.
Yeah, we do 2 a month.
We have 1 guest. Yeah.
Okay.
And we formally named it probably almost a year ago, right? Adam Splendid Sports came up with our name for Off Topic.
Well, I enjoy the crap out of it. I always look forward to it. When I see it pop up, I have to watch it. And here's my whole Strongsville thing.
Yeah.
I think I've told you all this. So last year, I remember Graig especially was posting all these fun videos from Strongsville, showing the cases, but then showing the guys, and he'd pan the room, and everybody like, hey, you know.
Yeah.
And I had just started on Instagram, and I had met some people on there, card guys, and I thought, man, that looks like fun. I want that. And so when we were on our way to Cleveland, I told my buddy Tim, I said, they got this YouTube get together, and I had him watching y'all's stuff. I remember he was watching y'all's, and he was watching Mookie, and he's like, man, this is awesome, So I remember he even brought up to Mookie that he watches Mookie. Mookie was blown away, and because Tim was talking about the museum and all this other stuff. So anyways, that Mookie thought that was awesome. So I told Tim, I said, man, there's a get together. There's a YouTube get together at some like American Legion thing. He said, man, let's do it. We ain't got nothing else to do. I said, all right. So I went on a fact-finding mission to see if all you guys were really cool or not, or if you're, if it was all a show. And it just seemed so cool, man. I walked in, like you're saying, there's a circle of guys. I'm like, hey, man, Sammy Thunder is tall. Look how tall he is,
Yeah.
And so, look, there's Orlando. What's up, Orlando? So I felt like a kid at Disneyland, that sees the characters walking around, and I felt like I knew them, but I don't. And so that is when I met Graig and told him I was thinking about doing a channel. He's like, man, you got to do it. And you gave me your number and told me you'd help me anyway. I was very kind. But my goal was, when I started my channel, was to do at least 1 a week and keep it going all the way, at least to Strongsville, so I can hang out with everybody.
There you go.
And not feel stupid. And I've made it. Looks like I've made it. So
you're just getting started, man. You're like the rocket ship, the boosters are going, the smoke's flying up, and
I don't
it's
know
just
about
like
all
you
that.
were just getting started. Now, I don't know if we've told you this, Tony, but I met you on the first night at the National.
Yeah, I
And you
met you and
came
your
up
dad.
in that second room, and you
Mhm.
came up, and I walked by
Tim's the
you,
one
and
that
then
saw you.
okay, so we walked by each other, and then you kind of turned around, and you're like, "Hey, man," and then we started talking, and you're like, yeah, I've submitted stuff on your pickups and all this stuff," and I was like, "Oh yeah," like, and like I hadn't really put two and two together yet, like what your cards were and stuff. So the next morning, we went to breakfast with it was me and Mookie and Pete and Darren. And this is the breakfast before your dad and Dean came into town. Your dad and Dean came
Mhm.
into town that afternoon.
Yeah.
And so it's the four of us, and my dad was there too. So it's the
Yes.
five of us. And I said, Darren, I met a dude last night who like watches our channels, and he was super cool guy. I go, his name's Tony. And Darren goes, he looks across at me and he goes, Tony Liebrick? And I go, yeah. And he goes, that's the dude who every month in your pickups has some huge card. And I'm like, that's the guy. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then this is a breakfast the morning.
Thanks, Darren.
I've never
You're
told you this
welcome.
story, have I? We've never told you this.
No.
So then we sit there and we start Googling you, and we're looking you up.
Oh,
We're like,
no
what's
way.
he do, man? He buys hot fire, man. And we're looking, we're like, what's he do? So we're like Googling you. We're like,
He's a
oh, dude, he
freaking
does like some
cabinet
sort of
man.
furniture cabinets or something. Like, what
Yeah.
the heck? You remember that, Darren?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then we're like,
There's a lot of money
we
in
gotta
cabinets,
find Tony
guys.
when we get to the show.
What's that?
Then we're like, we gotta find Tony when we get back to the show.
Well, then I just ran into him again over him and Tim over by
Ash.
in the back by the auction area.
Yeah. That's where I met Darren.
Yep.
So, anyways, it's cool that I'm talking to y'all here. Now y'all are friends. So it's kind of wild. And the reason I told Tim said, man, that's midlife Graig right there. I said, really? I turned around and there you were. I was like, dang. And I remember what I said to you. I said, dude, we got to take a picture together. I got to send it to my kids because they call you my boyfriend because I'm watching you on TV.
Do you still have that picture? Do you still have that picture?
Yeah.
Do you still have? Dude, you're gonna have to send me that picture.
Okay, I will. Yeah.
That was the moment that's the first time our paths crossed.
I know, man.
That's like were there like birds, like like the birds flying around and hearts coming up and stuff.
Yep. I think
that's awesome.
And you know what I appreciate about Tony in this situation? One of the few people that hadn't met you yet at the National that didn't come find me and say, excuse me, where's Graig?
Such a dork, dude. You're funny.
That's funny. Well,
he always says that. He always
goes,
goes, yeah, every time somebody recognizes me, they just want to know where you are. I'm like, dude, that's not true.
Literally, like when I bought my Graig, my 34 Gaudi Graig, I was like literally like negotiating with the dealer, and some guy was like, excuse me. I'm like, yeah. They're like, you do that show with Graig. I'm like, oh yeah, hi. And I'm like trying to negotiate, and the guy's like, where's Graig? Is he here? And I'm like, yeah, he's just down over there, like 2 rows. Keep going. I'm trying to buy this car, man. Thank you.
You looked at find your phone thing, and look, he's right over there.
Right. It's been a real pleasure talking with you. Thanks.
That's funny.
I wonder who that was.
I can't remember. I mean, honestly, we've met a lot of cool people at this national.
Oh, yeah.
Met our buddy Rocco. He was super cool. It was a good national. We met a lot of people, and that's the thing with Strongsville, right? Is Strongsville is primarily a lot of YouTube. Well, obviously, lots of people are there, but like at the YouTube events and stuff, it's primarily YouTubers. So it's more of like a gathering versus like the national. Obviously, there's just so many people there that you randomly will bump into people, and you go to the events and you'll see them. But Strongsville's it's a lot tighter of an event. It's a lot of fun.
I'm really looking forward, Tony, to you meeting a lot of these guys in person, and then hearing your takeaway on like who is the most like and not like you expected in person. You know,
Yeah.
that'll be really interesting for me.
Well, I've already met a few of them at the get together. They don't remember meeting me because they didn't know who I was. Obviously, now I think they do now because, like Theo, I've been on 4 collectors with him, but he didn't remember me even talking to him because he didn't know me, and I don't expect him to remember me, But now, just to know them and they know who I am, it's gonna be cool just to talk,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
it's gonna be-
50
it's gonna be
minutes. We're
fun.
50 minutes in, Darren. I don't know if we covered the topic you wanted us to cover.
No, we
but
did. This was an interesting off topic. We started off topic and then got on topic. So
Kinda.
This is probably the most off topic y'all have ever been.
I think so too. We're talking about wineries and high school, and I went on all sorts. You guys had to put up with me for the last 50 minutes because I've been all over the place.
It's fun.
What was the topic?
Oh yeah.
No,
the topic is strong. Oh yeah. I thought it was Strongsville, but
no, it is. It is. No, it's going to be a good time, and this year is going to be bigger than last year. Obviously, a lot more people are going, and there's events. I think every night now. Like last year, we did. First night we went out to dinner, and our buddy Mike Petty picked up the tab for everybody. That was very sweet of him. And then the next night we did the YouTube get together. The second night, and then the third night we went out to that Irish pub.
The second night,
or was that
we went to lunch at that little sports bar place. Remember, there were 2 tables.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we didn't really have
Well,
dinner.
that was
like a late lunch.
Oh, I thought that was dinner. Okay, yeah, I don't remember.
It was like a late lunch, early dinner, and before the YouTube get together, right?
Oh, okay, that was the same night.
Because remember, like Petty he paid for our table, but then the other table had to pay for their own. They were off biz.
So, in other words, you want to sit by Petty.
Yeah.
Petty, I don't know if he's paying this year.
After yourself to Petty, and just hope he keeps it rolling.
Well, he just spent a lot of money, so maybe we're paying.
Yeah, I don't want him paying for stuff this year. He just bought a really cool card, and that probably ate into his budget a little bit.
Well, I want to throw this out there. I've never done a live before. So the Monday night when we get back from Strongsville, we're doing a live. Darren's up in the air right now. But Greg's going to be on there. Petty's going to be on there, and hopefully Darren. And I'm going to have the first ever Southern Collector live show. So if you're watching this right now, tune in for that. Hopefully we still like each other at that point.
Oh, come on.
And we'll go on there.
Come on.
And we'll have everybody comment.
Let me just say this. I'm 100% sure I'll still like you guys.
All right. Well,
whether you guys are sick of me is up to you all. But I know where I'll stand.
Yeah,
we got to come up with like a Southern name, like Deep Fried Live or something.
No, man, that might be it right
Deep Fried
there.
Live. Deep Fried Live, or Cookout Live. Did they call it cookouts in that part of Tennessee, or is it called like grill, or do you call it a grilling, or what do you call that?
We call it cookouts, or we're gonna grill. Yeah. We're just gonna go grill.
My brother went to UNC Greensboro for his master's degree, and he got married in Greensboro. And so I went out there, and they all had all this different terminology, and I was just like, I think it was a cookout, if I remember correctly. So I just remember they had this. I hope they have them in Tennessee. If they have them in Tennessee, I might actually move. There was this place called oh man, now I'm gonna lose it. There's this fast food restaurant chain out there that had these biscuits that were just off the hook, dude.
Hardee's?
No, it wasn't Hardee's. Dang it.
What was their primary food?
Was it
a name from like Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn or something. You guys talk, I'll find it, but
this is way off target.
Greg's restaurant recommendations.
I'm in the zone.
Well, I mean, we have
Bojangles.
Bojangles.
Oh
yeah, we got Bojangles. I got one right down the street.
Bojangles and me spent a lot
It's
of time
really
together that
buttery.
week.
It's a buttery
Oh,
biscuit.
dude. I get the biscuit with the gravy on it. Dude,
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
dude.
Hardee's here has the best biscuit and gravy because it has sausage chunks in the gravy. And
Really?
I take the biscuit and I break it up before I
Yeah.
pour the gravy over, so I can just use the fork on it.
Oh,
And then sometimes I just get a ham biscuit and I can dip that down in the gravy and then eat
oh.
that. So I'm going twofer.
I might
My
end
mouth
up
is watering right now.
I might end up moving to Tennessee, dude.
Oh,
This
man.
might be if you got Bojangles, I might be done.
We got
dude. That might-
Bojangles, but the best biscuits in Nashville is a place called Loveless Cafe. And it's been
Okay.
around. Hank Williams used to go there. And I mean, it's like legit. It was this old, it's a motel. And where the lobby was, they had a restaurant and it's got the old neon sign out front, but all the tourists come there and it's off the beaten path. But man, they've been featured on national TV and their biscuits are unbelievable.
I think I've been there.
To Loveless?
I think so. I was down there. I used to go down there for work a lot, and some of the
Kind of out in the
local-
country.
Yeah, they recommended that we tried that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if
good
you're
country
still
ham.
listening, down in the comments, in your comment, include Loveless. That's how we know. That's the code that
Yeah.
you made it all the way to the end. Is
Yeah.
Loveless.
There you go.
Hashtag Loveless. Hey, and by the way, Derry, wasn't that what was his name? He's passed away now, but in Pony Boy and
Dude, you're right. That's what
Wasn't-
they said.
wasn't Derry?
I didn't know that, but so it said on this was Junk Wax Hero Mike, Dan. He always gets mad because I say it wrong. Dan's Vintage Baseball PC
Yeah.
and Jake Wax Pack Wisdom
Yeah.
are on this little text group, and I said, I'm recording with Derry and Tony, Southern Collector, in a couple hours. And Mike said, "Who's Derry?" And then Mike says, "Stay gold, Derry boy."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then
The
you just called
Outsiders.
it. So that was one. I thought it was Pony Boy.
So Pony Boy was one of them, and then Derry was, man, what's his name? The guy that was in Ghost.
Oh,
Patrick
Patrick
Swayze.
Swayze.
Yeah, it was Patrick Swayze was Derry. He was
I
the
can
big
see I
brother.
can get confused. That makes
If
sense.
you look at that roster, it had Tom
Oh.
Cruise, Patrick Swayze, had the Karate Kid,
Emilio
Emilio
Estevez.
Estevez. That
And-
movie was loaded.
And also, what's his name? The one, do it for Pony Boy. Do it for Johnny. Remember, he went out there and like tried to rob the store.
You
What was
guys
his name?
know I'm gonna get a screen grab video of Tony saying that. That is gonna be isolated.
Do it for
And
Johnny,
every
man.
time I talk about Tony, it's gonna be him
Now my
doing
face
that
is
right
turning red.
there. I love that.
That's one of my
That's
favorite
fantastic.
movies of all times, man.
It's a great
Cherry.
one.
Man, she
I
still
read
is
that
good.
book in high school, and then I read the sequel, which was called "This Is That." That was then. This is now. Is the sequel to that one. I read them
Okay.
both. So, and I didn't read anything except for Cliff's notes.
Darren, I'm sorry, buddy. We just totally
Yeah. So this
went
guys,
rogue.
I have to say, if anybody is still watching, like you deserve like a prize. So we're almost at an hour. Any last things you guys want to bring up, Strongsville, or any other topic? Any books you want to talk about, or wine you want to?
I would just
recommend
say
or-
that I love you guys, and I can't wait to hang out with you both 2
Yeah, I
weeks
feel
from
the same
tomorrow.
way.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. And Greg, you and I still have to stay friends after Strongsville because you're flying home with me. So
Yeah, you're my ride to the airport.
right,
So-
exactly.
Oh yeah, tell them the seating arrangements. Tell
Oh,
your
dude.
audience that.
So
Go ahead,
Greg,
Darren.
so flying into Cleveland, Mike Petty is connecting from LA to Denver to Cleveland, and Greg is connecting, Sacramento to Denver to Cleveland. I'm going Denver to Cleveland, and on our flight, we are 7A, B, and C.
Who's in the middle?
I'm in the
Graig.
middle. I volunteered to be in the middle. I'm like, hey, the thorn between two roses, I will be absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope people still like us.
Right. So remember, it's hashtag. What's our code word?
Loveless.
Loveless.
Yeah.
Loveless.
Yeah, I already
Hashtag loveless.
forgot. I'm
Thanks for
getting old.
watching, guys. 1 hour.
All right.
There we go. Well, hope you guys enjoyed. We will talk to you guys soon. And if you're going to Strongsville, we look forward to seeing you there. And if not, then I hope you look forward to seeing our recap afterwards.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We'll
See you
talk to you guys later.